Did you know there's a place right in downtown Linden where you can own a piece of the ocean? From glowing corals to some of the most unique fish you've ever seen. Today on your Community Connection, we're sitting down with Greg Jones, owner of Sunset Corals, to talk about how this incredible shop came to life and how it's becoming a part of our local community. Plus, we've got some upcoming events you'll want to hear about and a mystery beer tasting, so stay with us. It's going to be fun.
It's the Bill and Randy Podcast, your connection to community.
Welcome to the Bill and Randy Podcast today. We have placed a great guest today with our show today. We're going to be talking about the corals and all that good stuff. We're going to talk to Greg Jones, from the owner of Coral Sunset Corals there.
Corals.
Man, yeah, Sunset Corals there. And we also got a mystery beer tasting coming up our way as well. But you were talking to Greg earlier today and got some little insight on corals. I didn't realize they were living things, so I just learned for the first 10 minutes we were talking. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that. So, Greg, thank you for being here. But first, we're going to do our beer tasting here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to let the three of us, between Greg, our guest here, Randy, and Bill here, to let you know what we like. Is it good, not good? I have no idea. So we're going to break it out of the bag and see what it's going to look like.
All right, this is it, guys. It's a mystery. And my daughter's boyfriend lives in Wisconsin, and he's visiting right now, so he brought me some beer from Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
So, this is it. New Glarius Spotted Cow. See the cameras? I got a bottle opener here, too.
Yeah, those of us used to smoke back in the day used to use our lighters back in the day, or teeth, or countertops, but we can't do it. This is beautiful wood here. We cannot damage the wood. It's just too beautiful right here we got. So,
And Greg has something for us, too, which after he opens that, he's going to show you what he's got.
now remember, when you taste the beer, you got to take the first swig, swish it around, then take the second swig, and that'll let you know if you like it or not. So we just got to do it in that method there as well. We're trying to stay away from Budweiser and Bud Light because, everybody likes that stuff or don't like it. Depends how you look at it. I can't because I'm used to
Budweiser guy.
I'm used to German beer. So, but yeah, New Glarius Brewing Company. All right, let's take our first swig,
All right,
guys. See,
Cheers.
first swig. Let's take the second swig.
I think it's pretty smooth. I like it. It's a
do
good
too.
everyday beer, I think.
It's a little
It's
bit
a-
sweet.
It is a little sweet.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of back to my German days when I was in the Army because I was there for 6 years as Grosch. There used to be a flippy. That's what's called a flippy. It had a ceramic top, so once you pop it, you can reseal it.
Oh, yeah.
And the bottle's like that thick. It's really good, but it kind of reminds you of that. It takes back to those days of the German beer there. So Spotted Cow, but here's the trick question. Since it comes from Wisconsin, can we get it here in Michigan? That's the trick question.
Yeah. As far as I know, no. This is strictly a Wisconsin beer, New Glarus Brewing. But if someone knows that you can get it in Michigan, put it in the comments below where you can find it. Because right now, I don't know.
So we're looking at doing a Smoking a Bandit thing. We're gonna have to go across state and bootleg it across. And who's gonna? I'll Burt Reynolds. I have no problem. Greg, I need you to be Jerry Reed, and I'll just have you be the cop. All right. So you're good to go, Jackie Gleason. So we'll just go
Right.
with that.
I
Yeah.
do own a Trans Am.
Oh
Just
well.
throwing it out there. It's
right.
black, so we're good.
Hey,
Is those a Camaro? I got a Camaro white. That's I can't get the black yet. I got a Camaro is about the best I could get. Although I do have a car guy named Bill. He has a cool Trans Am, but it's yellow, so I don't know if that even works. But so yeah, go ahead.
He's got a special gift for us,
Yeah.
actually.
So I figured if you guys were going to be doing beer tastings and stuff on the podcast, then you guys needed some coasters to with your logo on
And
them.
check that out. It has our picture on there. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that is awesome.
So laser engraving is one of my hobbies.
I don't know if you get a shot at or not. We got
Yeah.
laser engraved coasters here. Greg did, and
Cool.
he does this as a hobby. This is really cool. That is really detailed.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. we got I've got a lot packed because we're definitely going to have to talk about his laser engraving because we
we'll
got a lot.
definitely get into that.
Oh yes.
But
This is
before we get
flippin'
into
cool.
that, just to keep things rolling, we do have some events coming up that Bill and I wanted to tell the audience about. First is the 3rd annual Shiawassee River Bowl fundraiser, Holly Lanes on Grange Hall Road, March 20th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Registration starts at 6:15 p.m., $25 a person, 50-50, and a basket raffle. And you can register online at keepersoftheshiawassee.org. I don't know if you can see this picture at all, but I'll also put a link to this on our Facebook page so you can get to it.
That sounds like fun. Again, what day is that again?
That is March 20th, 2026. So coming up.
That'd be that'd be today, Friday.
No,
No.
it's for this Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the silent auction on that, you might see a couple laser engraved items that.
Oh.
All right.
No, I'm gonna like this even better because I'm telling you, this laser engraving stuff is cool. I tried to play around with it, but it didn't work out with me. I ruined some things for my wife, and I'm still here today. So yeah.
I have a line laser engraved on my kitchen table from my first attempt. That I screwed on.
So you understand what I'm talking about.
I thought I was dead that day.
Yes.
Your wife is like, what is that? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, well, that's the line we were putting the beer in just to, to have it run off so we can drink at the end. It's a new tap way of doing it and stuff.
Right.
Now, we have this ribbon cutting ceremony coming up. Join us to celebrate Kids Tooth Pediatric Dentistry March 19th, which is tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Again, tomorrow, Kids Tooth Team Pediatric Dentistry. We'll put that on our Facebook page and website, so you can go there too as well.
So that's a new business.
New
in
business,
town, and
brand new.
So the chamber is doing a ribbon cutting
Right.
on it. So I just wanted to add that in. And we did this one last week as well. This is the Spring into the Meadows put on by the Fenton's Lions Club. It's March 21st from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. They're going to have entertainment by the Dueling Pianos. It's $90 a person, $680 for a table of 8. And you'll find that on our Facebook page also. So check that out.
Now, the Dueling Pianos, do we know what they're playing or what they're going to be doing?
I seen the Dueling Pianos out in Vegas once, and there's 2 guys on pianos, and they play piano back and forth, and it's pretty entertaining.
It is, yeah, I know.
Pretty entertaining.
Now we have an adult egg hunt, craft beverage, yeah, I'll be there, and food pairing. Saturday, April 4th from 12 to 3. So again, it's 12 to 3, Saturday, April 4th. Grand prize. Now, this is a grand prize that, gentlemen, if you're listening, your ladies or girlfriend will like this, or mistress, depends on how you look at it. Diamond earrings by Sawyer's. I mean, who cannot, turn that down? Then, of course, you also have for prizes all-terrain bike from Cycle Fit. It's a rain or shine event, so purchase your tickets on their website, FentonWinery.com. Again, that's FentonWinery.com. Again, grand prize, diamond earrings by Sawyer's. I know I could use that right now to get out of the doghouse. So I'm just saying.
I don't think your wife would complain.
No, she wouldn't. Trust me.
And then coming up at the Fenton Community Center, put on by Southern Lakes Parks and Recreation, the Handmade Market, March 28th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's right in the community building, downtown Fenton. A bunch of different vendors are going to be there with their handmade crafts. I went to the last one. My wife bought a bunch of stuff and loved it. So definitely check out the Handmade Market, March 28th, Fenton Community Center. Put on by Southern Lakes Parks and Rec.
Then we have another one. It's a meet and greet at the Grand Blanc High School. They're having a community expo, so it's a free community event. They're going to have 70-plus local vendors, food trucks, as well as kid corners, plus a grand prize giveaway. They got a lot of people that's involved. They got Randy Wise. They have The View, Dort Financial. I mean, they just got a slew of people involved in this. That is Saturday, March 21st from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. for business-to-business networking. Then from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the community. So if you're part of the community, just show up between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And again, that's at the Grand Blanc High School on March 21st. So be there. You'll have a great time. That's a community expo, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And then, are you ready to run, walk, and roll? Join the Linden Eagles Marching Band, Band on the Run 5K, Thursday, June 4th. So you got a little bit of time to start getting in shape for this one.
I'll
June
die of a heart
4th
attack.
At Cranston Stadium. That must be at the Linden, that must be the name of their football field there.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. They had a half-mile fun run, 12 and under, 6 p.m., 5K run at 6:30 p.m. Register by May 30th, 2026. Put on by the Linden Eagles Band Boosters. And you could probably find this on their Facebook page also. And we'll put it on ours also. So that's all the events we have for this week. And if you have an event coming up, message us on the Bill and Randy Podcast at gmail.com or on our Facebook page, the Bill and Randy Podcast. Message us, send us something with your event, and we'll try to include it on our podcast.
Now, with that run and walk there, people like me that's totally out of shape, are they going to have any nurses or medics on scene to help for CPR? Because I'm going to need it if I do that. Now, the
They
walking,
might actually have
I don't know if I
something
could do the
there.
walk, with my ankle. But just saying, there's people out there that, are concerned about having those
I got
people.
a bad knee. I won't be doing any running. So.
So now we're going to turn our attention to Greg. He's got this cool coral and fish stone store here. So first, tell us about yourself, man.
Sure. I live right in downtown Linden, so basically you could almost see the shop from my house. I originally was born and raised in Clio, and my wife and I kind of picked. She grew up down by south of Ann Arbor area, and we kind of wanted to find a spot that's kind of close to for both of us, so that we could still get in contact with our families as quickly. So Linden was kind of a somewhat halfway point for us. So that's kind of how we landed in Linden. So, but which is just an amazing little town.
Yeah, I've always loved Linden. I lived near downtown also for about 10 years. So, and then I met Greg, I don't know how many years ago already, 3-4 years ago.
Quite a while back.
Pretty. What year did you move in there?
So I think, I'm trying to remember, it was 20, well, it's probably actually 2020. Like this
All right. 'Cause
September.
I know you were just in there when I
Yeah.
showed up with my camera saying, hey.
And I remember that because I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do some
Right.
videos.
Right.
Yeah, because we this September will be our 7-year anniversary, which
Okay.
I can't believe went by that fast. It's
Yeah, time flies,
It is
man.
just going crazy.
So you haven't been in this store yet.
No, I have not.
It's a very cool store, very tropical. You feel the
Yeah.
humidity when you walk in, and you just got some amazing stuff that we'll talk about. What made you want to open the store in Linden?
It was it really wasn't planned at all. So believe it or not, my background is prior to this I worked for archery manufacturers and doing shows and traveling around to events and things like that. And I started growing. I started a saltwater fish tank, and then I went to my first coral show, which is kind of like think of a craft show or a reptile show, whatever, and where we all have these little tanks of coral. And I was like, hey, I can do this. I got this coral growing. I might as well do this. So that's kind of how we started the business. But and then it was growing in my house. And I tell you what, it is so awkward having people in your house at nighttime. It's like you come home, you just want to make dinner, and people
Right.
were hanging out in like our back room. It was like my fish room, and it's like I really just want to have a night. So eventually, we were looking for just to get people, kind of get the stuff out of the house. And the building just kind of fell in our lap. It was kind of the weirdest thing ever. And all of a sudden we had like a decision to make, and we decided to go for it. And the plan was just at first just to use it as a place where I could grow coral and things like that. And but then I was like, well, wait a second, we got this storefront now. We got to do something with it. Let's open a store.
Yeah.
And so then I just started building.
So that's basically, it just fell in your lap, this whole passion of yours for corals. You didn't, because certain people, I know from my business, I never thought about DJing until later in life. So something that's just kind of like, hey, this is cool. Then you just really immersed yourself into this, into the coral. Now, we were talking about the corals. I know we're going a little off script here. For the people, and I learned something before we even started the show. People like me that's seen corals on TV and National Geographic and stuff, talking about the different colors. You want to explain that process? How coral A could be one color, coral B could be a different. How does that work?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of, and a lot of it too is the type of coral. But the coral is made up of actually, it's like a type of, I want to say like algae. It's called zoanthophyllin, and I always say the name wrong. But it's basically it's like a single celled organism that lives inside the coral, and that's what transfers the light and turns it into sugars, kind of like a plant would, and then the corals feed off of that. Well, depending on what kind of light that zoanthophyllin, and there's a couple other different kinds of, and they have different names, but that whatever it kind of bounces, whatever light bounces, reflects back, that's what color the coral is. And so it's kind of cool. Like if you look in the ocean, a lot of the stuff is going to be kind of, brown, or it's not super bright and vibrant like what like what you'll see if you go into a fish store or an aquarium or things like that. And a lot of that is because we're the lighting that we use and different things like that really brings out the colors.
So now, if someone has never been like me, has never been to the store, what do us consumers expect to see as we're in your store?
Yeah, so we specialize in coral and saltwater fish. So we have, we're over 2,000 gallons of water sitting in there right now. There's I think 24. There's one system that's like 24 tanks. That's what I keep our saltwater fish in. We are going to see a few different coral systems. They're big. They're called frag tanks, but they're like a tank that's not real tall. They're just really big and wide. We do freshwater fish. So I got about 30 tanks of freshwater, and then my brain's always working, and I always like to trying to figure out new stuff or coming up with new things. So we do carnivorous plants. So Venus flytraps, pitcher plants, sundews, which some of those things people don't realize some of them are native to Michigan. There's some sundews that are growing here. Yep, they grow here in Michigan. Yeah, and it's which is kind of neat. And we do poison dart frogs, or dart frogs. So we have a breeding pair of those guys. And there's always a bunch of babies in there that people love to see. And so yeah, you never know what you're going to come up with. It's kind of like, okay, what's my new idea now? And my wife just shakes her head sometimes, but she works through it,
So,
Question on the poison dart frogs. Let's say a little kid wants to have a poison dart frog. Can they hold them or anything, or are they strictly staying in the cage?
Yeah, they're in the kink. It's they're not actually poisonous in captivity. There's a certain it's their diet in the wild that gives them the toxic poison. In captivity, like what's in my shop, they're all born in Michigan. They've never seen that diet. They're not poisonous, but they absorb their moisture, and that's how they through their skin. So the oils in our hands and things like that could actually damage them. And plus, they're fast. So every time even when I'm trying to catch them and pull them out of the tank, it takes me a while, and sometimes they'll land on me or whatever. But they're quick. So it's not a frog that you handle. They're so much fun, and their personalities are really cool. Watching them run around the tank, and they eat fruit flies. So another weird thing that I never thought I'd put on my resume is I grow fruit flies. So they're wingless. They can't fly. They're still quick. But we culture those in the shop and sell them as well, and for feeding our frogs.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the most popular fish and corals right now?
Right now, a lot of what we do as far as coral wise is we work with a lot of people that are new to the hobby.
Yeah.
A lot, so we're working with them, helping them try to figure out what the first corals they need.
Okay.
We sell a lot of like zoanthids, which are they almost reminds me of looking at like growing a flower garden underwater. So they have their little tiny heads, and they spread and produce more and more heads. But the cool thing about them is they won't sting each other. Corals will actually sting each other. Different families or different kinds can actually, they have like a chemical warfare. Whereas zoas, they don't do that. You can put two of them together, and so people will take a rock and they'll put a bunch of different colors together. It looks like an underwater flower garden, which is it's really cool, and they're collectible. They have street names. There's all kinds of crazy, like we have some that are called, like we have Fruit Loops, and people have come up with different names so that way you can kind of distinguish one from the other.
Right.
Now, what's the one thing that the beginners, when they start out, they get wrong right off the bat? It's wrong. they don't either ask or they're afraid to ask? What's the one thing they get wrong?
Patience. It's one of those hobbies, and it's where I struggled. I struggle very much as well. Is you have to have patience. It's something where you have to go slow. The slower you go, the more research you do, the more you look into it, the more successful you'll be. But just starting slow, and it might be a month that you're looking at just a box of water with no light on it, and unfortunately, but it will pay off in the future if you just kind of follow the steps.
Now, if someone say like me that's likes music,
Yeah.
plays music to the corals, does that because you hear all these for me anyways, an old dog new trick here. Learn that music helps plants, whatever. Is that a thing or not a thing?
I mean, to the corals, it's probably going to freak them out. The vibrations, and they'll close up. I mean, people, especially that aren't used to the hobby or been around it, if I put my hand in the tank and move my hand over the corals, they close, and you'll see them close right up, just like a flower before before it opens, and a few minutes later they'll open back up. But yeah, the vibrations and things like that would especially freak out the fish. Like we're always cringe every time you see someone tap on the glass or whatever, because it's magnified inside that box of water, and so it's something we always kind of worry about.
They're not rock and
Yeah,
roll.
No, not rock and rollers.
You can't- no guitar playing in the shop.
So, what is exactly a coral? What's the definition of it?
So it's actually an animal.
Really?
Yep. So it's we feed them. They eat a lot of the nutrients take in nutrients out of the water. Obviously, the light is their main diet or food source. But we feed them shrimp. There's little almost like people are familiar with brine shrimp, but there's other things that similar to that we actually feed. There's different additives and stuff. Turkey baster, you're squirting the stuff at them, and
Yep.
you can literally watch. It's amazing to see. You'll literally watch them open up. Some of the corals, you can see their mouths open up and actually take the food in.
Oh, wow.
And then you'll see all these little tentacles stick out of them that you didn't see before, and their feet are tentacles.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is. It's actually really neat. It's there's some ways to certain if you amino acids, which is something a lot of people that do weightlifting and stuff like that take. It's a very simple food source that will dose into the coral tanks, and if you do that before you feed, they know as soon as they see that they're going to get food, and they'll literally open right up for you.
Yeah.
So just a lot of little tricks and things, but
Very
it's
cool.
pretty neat to see.
Is it hard to maintain a saltwater tank?
It's a hobby. Is the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
It does take time.
Okay.
It's not a lack of good way of saying it, but it's not just a box of water that's on the wall. But that's part of the hobby. So you have to do water testing, and water changes is a big one. And I'm a huge advocate of changing the water. If you take the contaminants out, and then you replace it with new seawater, then you're replacing all those minerals and you're pulling the stuff out. So
Right.
it's it's just no different than if you had a pool and you're filtering your pool. You want to keep that water nice and clean and pristine. They're going to do better, and less infection, less things like that. So,
Okay.
so yeah, but there's a lot of stuff like that. But anybody I tell people a lot it's a matter of just you get into the hobby as much as you can. So if you don't have a lot of time or you don't want to put a lot into it, then you don't go with the
Right.
super hard stuff. You go with something simple.
Yeah.
But it's just taking the steps.
Yeah.
And someone like me to say, okay, I don't know the difference. What is the difference between freshwater and saltwater? I know obviously there's a difference, but what is the difference?
So I'm just the salt water is going to be we're trying to mimic ocean water. So it's there's different properties in it that we're trying to mimic. And there's obviously with freshwater, there's freshwater is going to come from a lot of the fish are coming from South America or the Amazon, places like that where the collection they're coming. There's a few lakes over in Africa that they're called African cichlids, and there's different species that come from these different lakes, but those are all freshwater. Saltwater is basically coming out from we deal a lot with coral. It's kind of our thing, so that we're dealing a lot with the fish coming off the reefs. Another weird fact for you. So freshwater fish, a molly, real popular, been a popular fish for a long time. So those are actually basically more of a brackish water fish, but we switch them to freshwater in the trade. I switch them to saltwater in the store. and so you can actually they can survive and thrive in saltwater because they're used to that environment in the wild, anyways. And so yes, a lot of times people come in the shop and they'll look, and I've got mollies swimming around in the saltwater tanks, and I've converted them over.
Yeah,
Now, what about corals? What's the most popular coral that you've been selling
I mean, coral.
or been asking?
Yeah, I mean, coral wise, I mean, we do it just like hammers is they kind of look like almost like an anemone. Everybody knows like Nemo with lives in there.
Nemo,
And,
yeah.
So we
Yep.
sell anemones and things like that too, which is actually another animal. It's not the same class as a coral, but anyways, lately we've been selling a lot of mushrooms, or just a lot of it just based upon what truly I have in inventory at the time, and I'm always looking for different things from people too. So,
Right.
And we get stuff from hobbyists too. Like I'll buy from, I love to support my customers, and so if I can buy different pieces from customers and stuff, or trade for store credit or whatever, I like to do that as well too. So we get some different
It's
stuff.
interesting.
Is there a certain fish that likes corals more than other fish?
Yeah. So there's a lot of fish that grow up on the reefs. Some of the ones that you're like clownfish, for example, which is the one like Nemo is an Ocellaris clown. There's different species of them, but anyways, so they don't really have like a true like job.
Right.
So like with saltwater, you kind of set your tank up based upon what job it does. But so like there's all kinds of stuff you can like get, but like for reef wise, you want like puffers are not good because they'll eat the snails and the crabs that you're trying to use to help clean the tank. Or groupers, they get huge and whatever fits in their mouths, they're going to eat. And, so there's a lot of different things. Like on the reef wise, you kind of pick stuff based upon what they do. Like tangs, like dory, which is called a blue hippo tang that became real popular. It's an herbivore for the most part. And so it just swims around the tank and picks that algae and picks that stuff growing.
Yeah.
We feed it nori, so the same thing you're going to use for making sushi.
Right.
I buy it, in bulk seaweed of that, and then we feed that to the fish.
So, someone who wants to start up, and maybe a beginner wants to start up one.
Yeah.
What's a good startup set to get?
So on the saltwater side of things, the larger the better, and don't let that scare somebody. But basically, like my personal favorite is a 75-gallon tank. It's a 4-foot tank. It allows you to do a lot more with the tank. But we're finding now the hobby is going more towards smaller setups, like 24 gallons, 32 gallon size, where they're just a little bit easier to maintain. It's just when things happen, it happens a little bit faster. Like so you just got to keep track. My wife had an 8-gallon tank on her desk in our office at home, and it was cool, and she could do a lot of fun stuff. But with 8 gallons of water, any little thing that happens fast. So she worked on it every day.
So what's the craziest or most unique fish or coral you've ever had in your store?
Ooh, all kinds of crazy stuff. There's I really like what's called torches. It's it used to be part of the Ophelia family, but scientists recently changed it. But anyways, they have really long tentacles, and there's this one that came out of, and I think it started coming out. I want to say the Philippines maybe, but it's got long tentacles, kind of like an anemone, but it's like crazy bright, like yellow, or you can get them crazy bright orange, like hunter orange. They're it's incredible. But yeah, those are really cool.
That would be awesome to actually see.
There's a lot of stuff too. Like it's called SPS, which is a little bit harder. Like when you see videos of people diving in the ocean, you'll see all these like sticks sticking up. Those are a lot of times like acropora, but it's SPS, and those you can get some just crazy colors of them, and they can get crazy expensive. I'm talking the tip of a pencil eraser, $300-$400.
Wow.
And I've had some of those. I killed a couple in the day too. I had an anemone that knocked out about $1,000 worth of coral one day, just kind of because he decided to move and sting everything. But yeah, there's all kinds of really really neat stuff out there, and there's stuff that I learn about new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So
And of course, being a local business here in town in Linden, what are the challenges you see right now for running a small business?
truthfully, the economy. For me, it's we're a hobby store, and so when the economy gets tighter, money gets tighter. you're not picking up that extra fish, or that you're picking up your frozen food that you need, or the water you need. We sell water, filter water there too, and you're picking up the necessities you need, but we're not seeing the big systems and things like that like we used to. So, but yeah, and but I think it's going to come back. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But so yeah, for us, honestly, cash flow. That's something I've heard people talk about when they started business was
Right.
cash flow.
That's the
and
big
I'm
one.
like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, now I know what cash flow is all about.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's definitely true. So what do you think is the most rewarding part about having a business?
helping people.
Yeah.
That's like that's my favorite part of the whole thing. To see somebody come in the shop that's thinking about it, and to be able to turn around and watch them succeed, watch them grow with the hobby. And we also too, last night I had someone at 12:30, quarter to 1. My phone's blowing up,
Yeah.
with questions and stuff like that. But I think I really enjoy being able to help people,
Yeah.
and I like to see them get the passion for the hobby and for what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about people getting into it. Are you seeing more people getting into the hobby, or is it still kind of like, yeah?
Lately, yeah. Like right now, we're seeing. I bet you 50% of what the people that are coming in our shop are new. Are new customers. We're starting to see people, and mind you, our customers, as far as the saltwater side of things, are not necessarily local. We'll pull from, we don't pull from Detroit because there's a lot of other stores down that way, but we pull from Lapeer, from White Lake. For a while there, I had someone coming from Alpena or Traverse City, or because we're unique. There's not a lot of us, and so you're used to driving
Yeah.
to go look at stuff. So it's but yeah, that's what we're seeing. What we are, we're seeing a lot of new. Most of the people coming in looking for new are looking for, like I said, smaller aquariums, which is fine, which is good, and it's just getting people in the hobby is the most important part.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, I was going to ask about we're talking about the hobby aspect. So, how hard is it to maintain? Because I know my wife, we were talking offline. We bought my son a fish bowl, and he had 4 Maxes. All right, he called his little fish Max, and each Max went down to twilight. We'll just say that. So, what's the hardest thing how hard is to maintain this?
As far as the saltwater side, and really freshwater, the same thing. It's changing out the water, doing the testing. One thing that's unique with saltwater is you're dealing with salt. And so, like, the salt basically comes in a bucket or a box or whatever, but you have to use filtered water. So a lot of people have RO systems, or are familiar with RO systems. We use what's called RODI, and so we deionize the water. So basically, in fact, MythBusters did a thing on it there's a myth that it would actually, if you drank RODI water, that it could dehydrate you because it would draw the ions out of your body.
Right.
They never could. It ended up being just like plausible, I think, at the end. They never could prove it, but I don't recommend drinking the stuff. But, but basically what we're doing is we're stripping the water down so it's zero. There's nothing in it. And then when we add the salt in, we're mimicking seawater. So that's part of it. But one thing a lot of people don't think about is as water evaporates, the salt does not. And so you're constantly adding fresh filtered water in through the system to help keep your salt levels at bay. And so that's one thing that, new people, or, that's a challenge for them to keep everything consistent.
All right, you get some knucklehead like me that buys one, and and where I live, we're on well, and of course we'll say, hey, it's already we're using the filtration, we got water softener salt.
Yeah.
Is that the same or not?
Nope.
So someone like me was okay. Do we have to go to the store and buy the water, or we use the water we come out of our tap? How does that work?
You can get an RO system or RODI system for home. I have one for years. I had it. It sat underneath my kitchen sink, and every time I needed to make aquarium water, I would pull the little hose out, and it had like a little garden hose fitting on it. I'd screw it onto the faucet and stick the wastewater down the drain, and then make my water. But for smaller systems anymore, most people with a smaller tank, they just come buy it from us.
Yeah.
We have pre-made salt water. I have the top off water. They bring in their 5-gallon buckets, and every week or every other week they come in and get their water and their top off water, and then they don't have to worry about the filters and stuff. I make it for us. I'm making at least 100 gallons a day. as far as what I'm filtering, because I got to have it for our systems too.
So now, as business owners, we always have that one disaster that when you start up or running through or currently that you remember, or some crazy customer or a customer had told you a funny story that you just like, wow. Do you have anything like that through your travels?
I can tell you about one customer, and I got a phone call, and one thing with us, like with me, we're a small shop. First of all, we don't have any employees. Just my background a little bit more, but my wife still works full time. It's just me and my mom volunteers and stuff helps out. But anyways, but I get really, when our customers, my job, I feel, is I'm along for the journey with you. So a lot of our customers feel, they're good to reach out, and they feel comfortable with us to do that. I can tell you one story, and I haven't seen them in a little bit, but I had one phone call one night that said, "Hey, I got a problem. I had a party at my house. Somebody got mad,
Uh-oh.
and a bottle of tequila went into my fish tank. What do I do?" And to be honest with you, that's probably, it was kind of a perfect scenario of what could have went in there. So I'm like, all right, water change. Let's get the water change going. Your tank's going to be really cloudy for a while. Alcohol is a sugar that feeds bacteria, and it actually will feed the good bacteria that's in the tank. And there's a thing called vodka dosing that people do in aquariums, and it helps with nutrients and stuff. So it's kind of a perfect storm in a way. He lost one fish, I think, and a couple corals, but we just kept working it through. I'm like, all right, do this, but you need to put carbon in here. Let's get this going, and we were able to save it. So that was one interesting one that we.
Well,
had.
you brought up about vodka dosing. I have a friend that had aquarium, so I know about it. Tell us about people that don't know what you're talking about.
So it's called, basically, there's a lot of manufacturers now that have products that are specific for this that are a lot more controllable, and so it's not something I condone or I recommend, but it is a DIY method of doing stuff. So basically what happens is by putting vodka in the tank, you're adding sugars to the tank. It's called carbon dosing. And so those sugars feed the good bacteria. And so what that does is that bacteria grows and thrives, and it allows it's going to eat up more of the nutrients, the fish waste, the excess fish food, stuff like that. So it helps keep some of those levels intact as long as you can remove their waste out of the system with what's called a skimmer. So it's just an older method of doing stuff.
Old school.
Yeah, but there's people do it still, there's different manufacturers you can buy that's a little more controlled, that you don't have to worry about putting too much in and causing some problems. So.
And then, of course, through your travels, and I know through my travels, you meet customers that are, they're not, we're not intelligent on this realm. We don't know. Yep. We like to experiment. So, for example, I get aquarium, and you're saying sugar. Well, hey, I got sugar up the cupboard. I'll just throw it in there. Or I got brown sugar. Tell us the difference between the sugar you're talking about and home sugar that people use.
Yeah. It's basically, there's things that people use. People have used vinegar, just things like that, and it's a natural sugar or food source, kind of like feeding, if you're making bread and you do like a yeast starter, where you're feeding some nutrients to the yeast to get it going.
Right.
It's kind of along the same thing. Not real common. Most of the people that anymore, I don't see a ton of people doing it unless they're like really, really into the hobby. So it's not something it's real commonly done, and I don't recommend it unless you really know what you're doing or follow the directions.
Exactly.
You can definitely
do a lot of damage.
Yeah,
do a lot of damage if you do it. I just know that through my travels, I've seen people, and then I kind of like scratch my head, especially when I was in Europe. I'm like, is that really what I think it is? And then of course you're trying to figure out, and I don't know enough about fish, so I'm like, okay, I'll just keep my mouth shut because I'm stupid about this stuff, so I have no idea. So since I have you here, it's like I've seen it. I'm going to ask the question.
Oh, yeah. And there's all kinds of reactors, and there's here's a good example. It's kind of so you go to the beach, you go to Lake Michigan, and you see the foam from the waves.
Yes.
And you see all the kids taking the foam, and look, I got a beard.
Yep.
Well, those are basically solids that's in the water. So those are basically, that foam is produced from the waves adding oxygen in with it, but also that is contaminants to the water. So
Yikes.
that's fish waste.
That's everything, yep.
Yeah.
Honey,
So
stay away from
yeah.
the phone.
So I always every time I go to the beach now, I kind of like look around like, oh, that's not good. But but we have what's called skimmers, and that skimmers injects air into a big cylinder, and then it gets churned up, and this disgustingly nasty smelling stuff comes out of it. I have to wait till we close the store to clean them out because they stink. But it's taking all that stuff out of the water so we can keep our water pristine, and and the best way to explain this whole thing is and people look at me funny with this, but you're not a fish keeper when you have a fish tank. You're not taking care of fish.
Right.
You're taking care of water.
Yeah.
And as long as you can take care of the water,
Then the fish will be good.
the fish is the bonus,
Yeah.
or the coral is the bonus.
Right.
And so it's a little different way of thinking about it, but truly, as long as you keep that water pristine or follow what it needs to be in there, then it supports life and things will thrive.
All right, so now here's a trick question. Because we got the mega jackpot, and we got all that stuff, right? So you play one day, and all of a sudden you wake up and you hit, the $1 billion jackpot or $35 million jackpot. What would you do with that money, besides move out of the country or something?
No, I'd definitely would have a
What would
house
you-
on the lake.
what would
But
what would your dream aquarium look like?
it
You
would
almost
be
started it at one time, didn't you, in your shop?
Yeah, I had a that was another one of my whims. Yeah, at one point I bought a 500-gallon tank.
Okay,
It was just short of 10 feet long.
it's gonna say as long as this damn.
It was huge. I bought it used from someone, and it arrived as sheets of glass. It was 3/4 inch glass, and then I had to have somebody come in, and along with, which was kind of cool, is I put a shout out to at the time our Facebook page saying I need help, and I had a bunch of customers showed up, and they helped us build this tank in my store. I had a friend that builds tanks, and he came in. And I think about 7 tubes of silicone later, we had a tank.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a start. But no, truly, I wouldn't want to go huge. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I think like a 180 or 180 gallon tank would be like probably about where to be. I really love a brand called Red Sea. It's their glass it's low iron glass, so it looks like there's when the tank's cleaned and that looks good, it doesn't look like there's even any water in it. I'm very fortunate because that's always been like my dream to have a Red Sea tank, and I was able to get one, and mine's not that big, it's small,
Yeah.
but it's always been kind of a dream of mine, kind of the Ferrari of fish tanks.
Would you prefer a, long rectangle or an octagon fish tank?
Long rectangle?
What's the reasoning on that?
Because of the way the light when you're looking at a tank with when you get some of the hex tanks and things like that, it can distort the fish. The hexes and stuff used to be really popular
Yep.
years ago, and they've kind of lost some of their popularity because of that, and plus lighting too. They're a little harder to get because they're deep, and they're a little harder to get lights, the right lighting to it.
So back to your dream aquarium. What would be your go-to fish and go-to coral? You just said, this is what I got to have. Eat them both.
It'd be hard. It would be. There's so many corals, and it kind of depends on which way the wind's blowing that day of the corals that I love. There's so much. There's just so
Yeah.
many amazing things, and some are way harder to take care of than others. And so, acans, they're like really. They have like a big polyp on them. They have some just incredible colors. There's these things called bounce mushrooms. They have like little nodules that form on them that are different colors. They're very unique, and you don't really even see them that often in the ocean that I know of. But it's stuff that we've grown over the years doing mariculture and aquaculture. So there's so much stuff. If I had tons of extra money, the thing would be chock so full of coral that it would blow your mind. And the equipment too, because I love the technology side. Like my fish tank right now runs off my cell phone. In some of the stores, we lose power, I get a text message. If something happens, the temperature goes wrong, I get a text message or an alarm goes off. So there's the computer, some of the technology that you can put into it. It's pretty impressive, and I really enjoy that part of it.
And with the water changing, with the technology, Is the water changing still the same, or is it more often or less? How does that work now since the technology's changed, everything we got now today?
So there's some people out there on the saltwater side of things that believe in not doing water changes, and then you do these tests and you send water out to have it tested, and they come back and say you need this micronutrients, and so you go buy this little bottle of this and that. I'm a big water change person, so basically it's 10% every week, 20% every other. And then there's also what's called automatic water changing now. You can set up a system where it draws out, say, a gallon of water every day, automatically replaces it with a new gallon of seawater. So you're turning your water. It still doesn't prevent you from having to clean your tank. It just prevents it from, it turns the water over faster.
Very cool. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit.
At the bottom.
Yep, I'm going to switch gears a little bit on from the coral
Yeah.
to your laser engraving
Oh, yeah.
business. You started as a hobby, but it's
Yep.
starting to grow. So fill us in a little bit about your laser engraving.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, it's a lot of fun. In fact, I just got back from a laser engraving conference that was last Saturday. I'm still trying to talk my wife into a couple printers that I wanted and a new laser I wanted, but yeah, it's about $45,000 for a printer. She's just
Wow.
she's not quite on board yet with
Yeah.
But no, the laser engraving stuff is fun. It's my brain has to run 100 mile an hour all the time, and so it gives me something to constantly trying to figure out. It's I make this hat. My laser engraving brand is called Beyond the Sunset Creations. Because Sunset Corals and the laser part of it is after hours, something I do beyond.
Yeah.
So that's where the name of that came from. But I do a lot of, like I said, we do hats. There's a few different businesses that I make hats for. I do all kinds of stuff. There's a car club out of Durand called Durand Cruisers. I do all of their, I help create their logo and then do all of their T-shirts and hats and
Nice.
apparel and stuff like that too. But yeah, it's kind of fun. It's slowly growing. There's a couple. The Linden, the boutique in town, by Beloved Books. She sells some of my posters. I have another place that I run a booth at that I sell stuff at too down in Brighton area. So plus having the stuff in my shop too. But,
Right.
Now, with your laser business,
Yeah.
how can someone find you?
Beyond the Sunset Creations on Facebook.
And then
On
Facebook?
Yep. And then
Okay.
also I do have a website, but it's not done yet. I won't lie.
Trust me, I know that feeling. I'm going
yeah.
through that right now in my
Yeah.
own business. I had a website and it's currently being redone. So I get that. Now, with the laser stuff, is that something that you liked to do when you were younger, or is this something again, another thing that just fell in your lap and said, "Hey, this,
It's kind of one of those things where I needed to figure something out. So I did a little bit of 3D printing. I kind of got into that a little bit for a while.
that's fun."
It is fun. The hard side with it, and now the technology is unreal. But when I was doing it, it's 20 hours for a print, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, yep, I got about 15 hours into that and it messed up, and now it's no good, But anyways, on another tangent, I host a car show, weekly car cruise at my store all summer long.
And where's that at?
At Sunset Corals, right downtown Linden.
Okay.
So every
In
Thursday.
the parking lot right behind.
Yep,
right?
yep. Every Thursday night, it's kind of taglined. It's a cruising at the fish store.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyways, in fact, I just dropped off the paperwork to the city to try to get my permits and stuff for this year's show. Today.
Fun.
Yeah.
Government paperwork.
Nice.
You have to not love it.
Oh yeah, so they're usually pretty good. We go to it is a multi-use parking lot that they let me use. So anyways, I should be going in front of city council on Monday to get that. But this will be our 6th year doing it. So, but it's just a fun, free family event that we do. It doesn't cost nothing. But anyways, when I created that, and it kind of got where I finally got a chance to take some money out of the business. It was like my first time ever. Once we started the fish business, I wanted to. First time I took money out, I wanted it to go to something. And I'm one of those weirdos that likes the Gen 3 Camaros, the 80s Camaros and Firebirds and stuff
That's
like
me.
that. And so I took the first money I took out of the store, went towards buying. I have an '85 Trans Am that I bought, and I bought that, and because now I can look back and like I have something for it. I worked this hard. I did all that.
Yeah.
I've got something that I can look back at.
Nice.
And but anyways. So then I got to the point where I wanted to go to these car cruises, but I have to be at the store, so I couldn't do it.
bring the
So
car cruise to you.
I said, fine, I'll start my own.
Right.
So that's how it goes. But but once the car cruise got going, and then people said, I kept hearing different people say, hey, if you gave away a trophy, then we would probably get more people. Like I'm like, okay, well, I don't have any money. I'm already footing the bill for this thing out of pocket as it is, so I can't afford trophies. And so I'd seen the thing where you could take a laser and you could make LED lit signs. And so I was like, well, I could do that. And then it was during COVID time, I was like, I seen an advertisement for one of these lasers, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. It was just a really cheap diode one, and but then I got it and found out that you can't do LED clear signs. But I did some more research and playing, and I figured out how to do it because a diode laser will go right through clear acrylic. And so I couldn't cut them, but I could buy the blanks, and then I found out if I painted everything black, and then I could burn through that way. And so anyways, I made my signs. And so that's kind of what started it all. And then it's like, I got this thing, what can I do next? And so then it's, hats or whatever. I just kept seeing different things. And now I'm actually part of a community that laser engravers here in Michigan that we all reach out together. In fact, I even host a laser engraving event at my store once a month where other crafters and stuff, we meet up and just hang out for the night. And, we can rely on each other, reach out to each other with questions and concerns. But that's kind of how it all started, was to build these trophies.
Yeah, my son, through his travels, he worked for a laser company, and they did engraving on the headstones for cemeteries. And he says, I want to get you and Mom a special anniversary gift. It's like, well, I don't want a headstone. I mean, that's just too weird, kid. I don't want a headstone. No, I want to do something. So he actually he bought whatever glass thing because we were doing renewing our vows and stuff. It was 25th year anniversary, and he actually engraved on this glass vase.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, can you engrave on the back of an iPad? Why? I says, well, if I lose mine at a venue, they say, no, it's mine because my name's literally on the iPad.
Right.
I don't know. So I gave him an old iPad, said, go see if he destroyed it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it worked out well. So have you gotten that? Have you done that as well?
I haven't done iPads or anything yet. And it's funny you say that because I just had somebody ask me if I could engrave their logo on the back of their I think it was their iPhone. And I'm like a little nervous because I've not tried it. I know it can be done. And it's funny too because you get a lot of weird requests or different things that come out of the woodwork you wouldn't even think about. That people are like, hey, can you do this or that? Or right now I'm trying to figure out how to make a rubber stamp for the Linden Museum. They if they need to be able to an ink stamp.
Right.
And they come to me and said, is this something we need something with a made a certain way? Is that something you can do? And I'm like, I've never done it before, but I've seen where you can, so let's figure it out. So that's what one of my projects I'm working on right now.
Well,
and that's raw slate.
Yeah, looking at this. This is flipping awesome. I'm sorry, but this is flipping awesome. And I don't know if our producer can zoom in on this one I'm holding up. I don't know if it's shaky or not. How would you, for people like me that's idiot about this stuff, how would you was able to get that transposed on here? What did you have to do? What's the process?
So this morning I went and went onto your guys' Facebook page, and I downloaded or copied the image down, and then I've got a couple pieces of software that I use too because I had to the DPI it was way too it was like 72 DPI or something.
Yeah.
It's a JPEG that's on
Right.
there. So anyways, I took that and had to expand it out so that it
It would show up.
and bigger. Yeah, but there's a couple pieces of software that I pay for that allows me to
Nice.
Because that is
switch it
so
over.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you really gotta. I don't know if you realize you really have a niche right now in this type of market. You can just tell somebody, hey, boom, I could do this. I don't care what business from here to GM to whoever, because you got something there that you can really expound on.
Yeah, it's fun, and kind of the goal with it is owning a fish store. So during this, we're very seasonal, extremely seasonal.
best way that the community can support small businesses? What can they do to help you grow?
Shop, honestly. Come in. We all love shopping online. Amazon comes to my house every day. It seems like, but honestly, that $5 that you spend in the shop in town or local business, it means way more to that business owner than you'll ever believe. That's the difference between me hitting my goal that I set for myself every month, or not hitting that goal. That's the difference between paying that consumer's bill or pulling that money out of my pocket to pay that consumer's bill. So it's so vital for this. And the thing about it too is, as we grow, as the businesses grow, as we support each other, the whole town's going to grow.
Right.
We're all going to thrive. Like myself personally, I love Ace Hardware in Linden. That's like my go-to.
Yes. Yeah.
I walk in there and they say, if I walk towards the plumbing department, they're like, all right, Greg, what fish tank are you working on now? Did you buy a new one?
Yeah.
But I absolutely love that. Or I'll be out mowing the yard and I'll see somebody going by and they're honking and waving.
Yeah.
And that's the sense of community, that if we can support each other, then we're all gonna live. We're all gonna thrive.
And I hate to ask this, but it kind of goes either, because with the economy, and I get it. As a business owner, you have any upcoming sales or anything that's going to be happening this summer, spring, summer, any events, sales, or anything like that for your business, other than Thursday night cruise?
Every once in a while, if I get away for a while, my wife will throw a sale. The Greg's Gone sale sometimes. She'll come up with stuff. She'll be watching the shop or whatever. Yeah. But we don't run a lot of sales. Honestly, it's the stuff that we have. The margins are really tight as it is. It's an expensive thing to keep. I mean, I try to I'll run into things like if instead of running a sale, if I get a good deal on something, if I'm able to buy something at a discount, I pass it on. I don't run the price up to what it would normally be. I would just pass it on to the customer. Or I like to be able to, when someone comes in, like, hey, you bought a bunch with us or whatever. Let me take care of you. I'll tell you what, I'll throw this in for you.
Yeah.
I like to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Where it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
And that's the way we all work, is on barter and trade and stuff, because running a small business, it takes money.
Yep.
And then, of course, like you said, that $5 makes a big deal. Now, having said that, is there any advice you want to give to any future business owners of anything that they're going to do? Any advice to help those guys say, hey, look, I didn't think about that, or I need to. Is there some any advice you can give to people that want to start their own business out there?
Just take the leap. Do it.
Yeah.
You can talk about it. You can think about it.
I agree with that.
For a long time, but you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And even with us, it's scary. I'll be honest, you're gonna lose friends. I had a conversation with with someone yesterday about this. Other people don't understand. I'm tied down. I can't go out and do this, or I can't do that. So you're gonna lose some friends that that part kind of stinks. But you have to keep your focus, and you just have to do it. If not, like with us, like when I opened the store, the first 2 years I worked full time, and I just ran the store in the evenings and weekends. Ran myself to death. My lunch hour at my job was placing orders and just trying to get, answering customers, blah, blah, blah. And we finally got to the point where I was like, if we don't try this, we're never going to know if it's going to happen.
Right.
And as long as I don't put us into a huge amount of debt, then it'll be okay.
Right.
And I'm an open book for people. I probably had too open, but, our store, I was able to build 100% out of pocket. I didn't do loans. I didn't do anything.
Good.
Right.
That's the way to do it.
And now, as money comes in, I spend it. Do we have the best systems in the world? Do we have the latest technology? No, I've built most of the stuff in the shop.
Yeah.
But I know the ins and out, and I can tell you how to do that. And so that's kind of my
The knowledge that you have is very valuable to
I've
you,
screwed up a
and
lot
help
of
the
stuff.
customers through your trials and errors.
They say, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take.
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah, and that's the
Something
thing.
like
It's
that.
just I'm not saying to put yourself out there and
Right.
Like I always told when my wife and I got married, I told her I'll never put us
Right,
into a
in
financial
trouble.
situation. I'll back off, and
Right.
and that's kind of what we've went with. And are we getting rich from this? No. Do I wake up 90% of the time and want to go to the shop and everything else? Yeah, usually. There's a lot of days where it's like, oh, I really just want a break.
Yeah.
Or I have a day off and I don't want those phone calls or those text messages.
Yep.
And that's all part of it, But as soon as you see that first kid that comes in and his eyes light up when they see the fish tank or they're getting their first fish tank and their plants or whatever is growing, it's all worthwhile. I mean, that's what it's all about.
And then where can people find you again for both your businesses?
Sure. Yeah. So Sunset Corals. I do a lot with Facebook. So it's just Sunset Corals on Facebook. If you shoot a message through there, it's coming right directly to my phone. And then also Beyond the Sunset Creations the same way. So I try to kind of share both back and forth. And then I do have a website for the fish store. It's sunsetcorals.com. It's a major work in progress.
Work in progress.
And-
All right. Well,
Is there anything else you want us to, the community to know about you? Anything else?
No, nothing else. If the car shows will be starting, should be starting. I think it's May 14th, first Thursday.
Let me look it up here real
Going
quick.
all the way through the October 1st this year. So
Yeah, May 14th. Yep. First Thursday. You said first Thursday?
Yep.
Yeah.
May 7th.
It should be I think it's May 14th is a Thursday.
Yeah. May
Yeah, that'll
yep.
be the first one.
First one, May
this year,
14th. Yep.
But they're family friendly, and the whole premise behind it is just to bring people out, and bring people to our community, show them what Linden's all about, and try to help support our other businesses in town. 'Cause
Yeah, Linda has a great community. They got a great
has a great
support all the way around with the museum and what used to be, I don't know, you would know more because I lost track, the old VFW hall. What did that change into?
the community center.
It changed into a
Yes,
community
yep,
center now?
center, yep.
So they can go to community center now, see
Yeah.
the changes. And if they like kayaking, boom, they got that as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's so many hidden gems in this town. I mean, the record store. I mean, he was in downtown
I
Flint.
love the record store.
Yeah. Come to find
Jack
out,
Stash.
Come to find out, him and I graduated a year apart from Flint.
Oh,
Just from
nice.
talking, So, but yeah, the bookstore. There's two
Yeah.
coffee shops. I mean, there's just May Designs now with they're
Right.
doing a lot of really cool things for town.
Yes.
With the shop hops
Shop
and stuff
hop,
like that.
yeah.
There's the Linden Hotel. I mean, they're amazing.
Right.
I'm still trying to get a fish sandwich. I think a Sunset Coral fish sandwich on the menu
Right.
would be cool.
Yeah, that would be.
Karen, just saying.
Right, Karen, come on.
There you go.
You go to Linden Brewing. Well,
Right.
there's a Sunset Corals beer on the menu. So
Nice.
it's just
See?
all about all of us working together and just having fun.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you being our
Yeah.
first official guest on the Bill and Randy podcast. We enjoyed having you. We enjoyed learning all about your coral. And so if anyone has questions about coral or saltwater fish or anything, go and see Greg at Sunset Corals in Linden. What's the address?
109 North Bridge Street.
109 North Bridge Street.
Yep.
So, and check out his Facebook page. Give him a like and follow.
Yeah.
Same with the Bill and Randy podcast. Give us a like and follow. As I said, you can message us on the Bill and Randy podcast at gmail.com or message us on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music also. And that's probably about
I think
it.
that's a wrap.
That's
man.
about a wrap.
I think we did good.
And Bill Young's Entertainment, if you have a wedding or an event and need a good DJ, Bill's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, so Young's
check out
Entertainment.
Young's Entertainment, and I'll put a link in the description or on the screen. So check out that. And so that's about a wrap. We appreciate the audience being here listening to us, and we hope to have another guest next week. So
And having said that, it's goodbye, adios, auf Wiedersehen from Bill and Randy Show.
and collaboration grounds.
Grounds,
Thank
and
you for
collaboration
having
grounds.
us. We don't want to leave you out. So thank you.
It's the Bill and Randy podcast. Your connection to community.
Did you know there's a place right in downtown Linden where you can own a piece of the ocean? From glowing corals to some of the most unique fish you've ever seen. Today on your Community Connection, we're sitting down with Greg Jones, owner of Sunset Corals, to talk about how this incredible shop came to life and how it's becoming a part of our local community. Plus, we've got some upcoming events you'll want to hear about and a mystery beer tasting, so stay with us. It's going to be fun.
Generate by AI.
Did you know there's a place right in downtown Linden where you can own a piece of the ocean? From glowing corals to some of the most unique fish you've ever seen. Today on your Community Connection, we're sitting down with Greg Jones, owner of Sunset Corals, to talk about how this incredible shop came to life and how it's becoming a part of our local community. Plus, we've got some upcoming events you'll want to hear about and a mystery beer tasting, so stay with us. It's going to be fun.
Generate by AI.